Hey, what is up guys, BuzzRatchet here, back for yet a brand new video. Today guys, I'm going to be talking about why you should not buy a 4K gaming monitor, because it is wasting like maybe $300, $500, sometimes even $1,000, depending on what kind of monitor or even TV that you're going for. The reason why I say this is because buying a 4K monitor or TV can actually be an issue depending on its size. So most people nowadays will say that you should buy a 4K TV that is 55-inch and up, because otherwise you won't get the full benefit of 4K. Now, personally, I would think, and I know a lot of people also think, that if you want to get the full benefit of 4K, you would go 70 inches and up, because otherwise it's just not big enough of a screen. Let's go back in time to the year I don't know, the first year they had TVs. They probably had very, very small TVs that maybe had 240p quality. And if you go on a YouTube video that's in like 240p, you know what it looks like. It looks like a jumble of pixels, because that's literally what it is. Now, we go up, farther into the future, maybe the 90s, late 90s, something like that kind of time range, or early 2000s, you get 720p, which is the first kind of HD. You watch a YouTube video, it's in 720p, that's what a lot of people put their quality at. It's the first kind of idea of HD. Then we get into 1080p, and that's like high definition. That is HD. It's the definition of HD. It looks really good. We start getting dynamic range, which is expanded lighting, which makes everything look better. And then we get into 4K. 4K is 4K. It is massive. It looks spectacular. You don't see any graininess in your screen. And you get HDR, which is expanded colors as well as expanded lighting. Now, the dimensions for 720p, which is the first kind of HD, is 1280 by 720. Think about that in your head. That's smaller than 1080p or 4K. 1080p is the resolution or dimensions 1920 by 1080, and that's usually what most people have nowadays, as 4K TVs are still like over $1,000 for even a small one. Now we look at 4K, which is dimensions 2560 by 1440. You see the big size difference in the numbers? That's because it's the different amount of pixels that's going into your screen that makes up the picture. 720p, there's not as many because it's a smaller screen. 1080p, there's a lot more. There's a lot more pixels, which make it even better looking. Then we get 4K, which is massive. That's so many pixels compared to what we have before in like 720p, and it makes up a beautiful screen. Now, let's say you get a 22-inch. I right now have an LED, HDMI, 1080p, Full HD, 22-inch monitor. I don't mean to go into detail, but that's what it is. And let's say that you want to buy a 22-inch 4K monitor. You're not going to get the full benefit. I don't even get the full benefit of 1080p on my little monitor, but you're not going to get the full benefit of 4K because it's a smaller screen. There's not as many pixels that they can fit into a smaller screen as, let's say, a 70-inch. That's why you won't get the full benefit, because you can't get all those pixels in there that make up that beautiful image. It's pretty much going to look 1080p. If you didn't know, there's actually a number that you can divide by. My monitor is 22 inches in length, or width, whatever one, really. It's the bottom length of your monitor or TV, or the top. You basically divide that number by 7.76, and it'll give you how many feet you should be away from your TV to, make it the best quality looking picture. If you get up into the face of your TV, you can see all the graininess and the pixels, but if you go away, my monitor, 22 inches, about 2 feet away. That's what I, found when I divided the number by 7.76. And I do that, and it looks perfect. You don't see really any pixels. You don't see any graininess, depending on the movie. I mean, if you're watching like not a 70-year-old, but like a 30-year-old movie, you're going to see graininess. But it looks a whole lot better picture. Now, if let's say you have like a 55-inch TV, you maybe want to be like 9 feet away, something like that. So on and on to really get the best picture. But the thing is, like, if you compare a 4K monitor up to the same size 1080p monitor, it's going to look the same because you're the same distance away and they can't fit as many pixels into the screen, which makes it looking the same quality. And monitors nowadays aren't even HDR, which is the expanded color and expanded lighting. I mean, you get expanded lighting in a monitor, but you do not usually get HDR, which is high definition colors and, makes it more vibrant and everything. And it looks way better. That's what pretty much comes with a lot of 4K. That comes with the Xbox One S as well as the Xbox One X, which I guess hasn't even been released. But basically, the reason why you shouldn't get one is because it's just going to look the same as any other monitor. Unless you get a really big TV that looks really awesome, you're not going to get the benefit. It's going to look the same because they cannot fit that many pixels into the screen that make up that size. It will look better, but it won't look to the full benefit of 4K. You won't get the full benefit. You'll just be wasting maybe $300, $400, $500, depending on the monitor, maybe even $1,000. I really don't know. But if you are to get anything 4K that's a screen, I would totally recommend getting 55-inch and up if you're on a cheaper budget. But if you could, get 70-inch and up, because that's when you'll get the full benefit of 4K. Personally, I'm fine with my 1080p monitor because it looks really good. I'm sitting the same distance away. I don't need to get a 4K monitor because it'll look the same as my 1080p one because the same amount of pixels are in it. You look at maybe, like, my parents have a big TV out in our family room, much bigger than my little monitor, and it looks better than my monitor, even though it's the same quality. You can have a 4K monitor that is the same, it's 4K compared to your parents' big old TV. Your monitor's just still not going to look as good. That's the way it is. So unless you get, like, the dimensions that are, like, really long monitor screen and, really wide, you're just pretty much not going to get much out of any 4K monitor. So, yeah. And by the way, I do want to mention first that a lot of people get this mixed up. First off, your computer's not a monitor. I get that a lot by a lot of people. Your computer's not the monitor. The big old box under the monitor or console is what you're basically seeing. It's just being viewed on a monitor. Just to get that straight. Also get the fact that you have to have a 4K TV and a 4K console or computer or whatever it is to get 4K. You can't have a 1080p monitor or TV, have a 4K console like, the PS4 Pro or the Xbox One S, and get 4K viewings on your TV because it's not a 4K TV, and vice versa. You can't do that, just so everyone's clear on that. So that's it, guys. That's why you should not buy a 4K monitor, in my opinion, because it's just a waste of money. You should not do it, and if you have, I'm sorry, you wasted a lot of money, but you've probably already found that out. But then again, it will have a better viewing screen. 4K is just overall better, but it's just not going to be the full benefit, and it's not going to be worth it.